Hello everyone, and it's finally time to get back to doing reviews. Had just a busy weekend and didn't get to do it last Friday because trying to get the Halloween Fred review out. And a slight update on Halloween Fred. I actually got to test her a little bit. I tested her a little bit against other units. I tested her with her agility buffs. Of course, obviously couldn't really play around with equipment and everything, because equipment was just on the friend unit. So, refer to the previous video if you want to know about that. But testing her against my win team, first of all, she proved pretty ineffective at dealing damage against, against Joom, the wind-based elemental tank here on the JP side, who is a fast unit. She proved to be pretty resilient against a lot of Halloween Fred's attacks. Also, not only that, but I tested her against Tifa and 2B. Even with her evasion buff, she basically ended up being about a 50% average on the JP side for evading, and maybe, I think there's a few ways that you could potentially maybe increase that, but overall I was really unimpressed with Halloween Fred. It kind of came down to most of the times a 50-50, and both of these characters at about level 120 were doing way more damage than she was capable of protecting herself against. So yeah, I'm pretty much calling it that Halloween Fred is a little bit of a disappointment. I think you could potentially make her work better on the global side, because I think you guys have a little bit more stuff towards evasion than we do. But on the JB side, I have to say that she doesn't look like she's anything worth going for. And so that brings us into the two Halloween units we haven't talked about yet. Our two old units who are getting an upgrade. We're going to talk about both of them, as you can see them right here. And just a note for global players, on the JB side, we are getting a banner. This banner, as a matter of fact, 6k paid Lapis, which at the end of it basically guarantees you not only 300 of the coins, which is a good amount towards, paying for these characters, for their shards that they'll need, but at the end of it, you either get a level 99 Halloween Leela or Rairyuu, and that's a good deal for anybody who doesn't care about which one you want. Because you essentially get them maxed at the end. You can just start using them, and I think that's actually a way better deal than Halloween Frederica. So for people out there who are interested, this probably will come to global, and hey, if you already have the characters up to 99, then you'll probably just get reimbursed for the shards, and you can just EX them, like, completely, but just by doing this. So, some options. But we are here to talk about the characters and whether or not they are actually worth even going on. And first of all, we'll get the easy one out of the way, which is Halloween Leela. I still think that her TMR is very good, even a year later, because I think that is something to be talked about. But in terms of what she gets for an EX upgrade, the weakest thing is definitely her counter, but that's not saying that it is bad. First of all, it goes up to a 30% chance of proccing, which is way better, and it absorbs HP 86% now, as opposed to the 50% max that it was before. That's a pretty big boost. Only thing to really think about here is that a lot of characters, as opposed to 1 year ago, now shut down some of these counter abilities. So this upgrade is good most of the time, but it might not make a difference some of the time, especially with, I think, Setia. She can pretty easily shut people down from a distance, and that's pretty harsh. Anyway, talking about the other major upgrade to her kit, we are basically getting a upgrade to her large AoE, and this was one of her AoEs that I think everybody knows. It's that big diamond pattern AoE, instacast, level 4, level 3 boost. Before it was a 121 modifier, now it's getting up to 165 without the bonus for the multiple of levels. it's just a really strong ability still. It just is really, really powerful, and it will undoubtedly make Halloween Leela an even better farmer than she already was, and she was already pretty good, even by not being a 99 standard. So I think that, yeah, there's really not much to say about Halloween Leela, other than the fact that she's just a really good character, and her EX is pretty great. And her new ability is no slouch either. So it increases her spirit penetration by 50 for herself, and then it does a 165% modifier with a increased 30% hit chance with a modifier increase of 45%, so 210. It's on a single target, but it gives her an AoE, not only to her AoE ability, but now she has a single target nuke that will be pretty darn strong. And I guess since I do actually have this character, we can show off a little bit. So some magic, some HP, more magic, more magic, more magic, more HP, a magic node. So yeah, I think that pretty clearly damage dealer was the way they went with her, and I think it will serve her very well for in the future. So Halloween Leela gets a big recommendation from me as just being a really good looking EX that I think will be very focused and very powerful and great for the wind element. All right. And but she is not the only character. Here we have the Zombie Man himself. And 1 year later, talking about this character, well, first of all, TMR. Since I talked about Leela's TMR, I will talk about Rairyuu's TMR. The Zombie Mask has, as far as I'm concerned on the JP side, completely become unnecessary. I mean, it was better on the global side to begin with because I think it didn't have the job restrictions that JP did. But now talking about this thing 1 year later, where there's so much auto revive cancel on really powerful characters that are, in it very much being used, I think that this TMR just doesn't hold up 1 year later. Really, I just don't think it's that good at all. But how about the character? And the character, taking a look at what you get, first of all, the support is getting increased, so the spirit penetration and accuracy is now also getting 12 defense and 15 critical evasion. The critical evasion here feels better than the defense. 12 defense isn't a lot. There's a lot of characters that can get by this, so I'm not crazy about that. It is on a good support though, so anything is better than nothing here, but how much better, I don't entirely know. As for Hazard Slash, it is getting improved to only consume 10% of his HP while also reducing counter chance for targets and dealing a 225% modifier still. So strong ability before, strong ability now. I kind of am interested in this because it might point how Howlett's EX is going to be. It might be very similar with Hazard Slash getting improved on him too. But removing the counter chance, as we've said, is already very strong because there are some really good counters out there. But yeah, just still a good damage dealing with less of a penalty. So I think it's just stronger now. And his last ability, his job level 25, is solid enough. Break magic barriers for targets. With a 165% mod, there are, at least from the more recent Porcelain Tower, I've been running into a lot of enemies that just seem to have barrier on them naturally, or they cast it before anybody even moves. So barrier breakers, in terms of Porcelain Tower, seem to be worth their weight in gold. So solid. This is a solid one. This character feels more useful than Fred does because of the fact that I think he's bringing a fair amount of utility to the field, and he's still got some pretty good damage abilities, even if. And Earth Mage maybe feels a little bit more important right now than Earth Slash, since Noctis already exists and Oberon exists, and I don't know if there's really quite so much of a need for Fred. But with Earth Magic, those mages could use a little more support, and I think with this guy he will do pretty well. As for his skill tree, He gets defense, luck, a little bit of agility, some magic, a little more agility, luck, dexterity, an AP node, which is really nice, increase of HP, and yeah, so some pretty good stats, a little bit less on the damage front, but he'll get some extra stats towards that, obviously. But the dexterity, luck, and agility are really important, and I think the AP is just generally nice too. So yeah, overall, summarizing the Halloween units this year, I would say that Frederica ended up being a little bit of a disappointment. Just because I don't think that she is really going to add up to as influential or as important as a lot of characters that have been coming recently in the Earth element. And the evasion just doesn't seem to work, especially on the JP side, so I can't give her a recommendation for that. Maybe she'll work a little bit better on global. As for Leela, slam dunk, easiest recommendation for the Halloween unit. She's great, and I think she's even gotten way better with her EX, so that's fantastic. As for Rairyuu, I think he is solid, but not a necessity. I think that TMR is too old if we're talking about extra value you can get off this character. And, you know, I don't know. I think there's already... he could pair really well with an Earth team, but if not, Earth is in a pretty good place since Oberyn and Noctis have came to the JP side. So, yeah, that's... I would say definitely, you know, probably... A for Halloween Leela. Rairyuu gets a, let's say, a B+, if not an A-. I'm a little conflicted on it. Maybe I'll just give him a B++. And as for Frederica, the more I tested her, the less convinced I was. So yeah. And as for the Vision card, still pretty good a year later. So yeah, there you go. But and to cap off this video, after bad-mouthing her, let's just use this ticket and see what we get. It's looking like nothing. It's nothing. There you go. Happy Halloween. So anyway, let me know what you think of these characters. I think that Globalers should be quite excited for Leela, even with lots of stuff coming in the future that is very good too. But hey, JP is coming up on its 2nd anniversary, and next week we have another EX batch, which I do believe is being led by Sakura, and that should be a very interesting EX to see what her level 120 looks like. So anyway, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, take care, and see you in the next one.